Welcome to Hard Luck Deer Camp. Actually, welcome to preseason. These preseason trips are like an insurance policy that we will be ready to hunt come opener, as we prep our stands and complete camp chores. We're hunting a massive bog known as the Pine Island State Forest in northern Minnesota. This is a cedar grove that I've been hunting for a couple years, and I had to come out to get my portable stand and the tree arm up that I'm going to be shooting out of. I'll have the camera up there. There's some excellent shooting lanes through here, and we saw a crazy sign here last year in the snow. So we're really hopeful that this could be a perfect ambush setup. Our playground stretches for about 5 square miles, though in recent years the beaver dams have limited us to more like 3 miles. How bad is it, you ask? Let's go for a brief three-wheeler ride with Eric Nelson as he demonstrates.
Good old hard luck. Wonderful trails. The deer just love these nice farm fields. This is where we probably get wet. Good thing the camera's waterproof. Why you need a winch. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this predicament. Okay. Hope this works. Oh shit!
It's getting so bad, we're toying with getting an Argo with hopes of getting back to our favorite buck spots up north. But you see, we've always struggled with getting around on these ancient logging roads.
Year after year we've been coming up here. It's hell getting up here, but at the end of the trip, you know, we only come up here once a year, and that's pretty much for a reason.
Hit a flat tire, lights burnt out, Doug just had to cut a log.
We have played hell getting into our hunting area over the years. We used to try it in trucks. We now use only ATVs.
Sometimes we've got to cut a tree out of the trail or dig out an especially nasty muck hole.
This is simply an unruly and difficult place to hunt whitetails. But it's our place. When we return, the hunt is on in the cedar swamps of Minnesota. This is Destination Whitetail. Destination Whitetail is brought to you by Browning Trail Cameras, by Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker, by Sever Broadheads, straight through it, by Primal Tree Stands, and by Remington, America's oldest gunmaker. Welcome back to Destination Whitetail, where we're hunting public ground in northern Minnesota, courtesy of the Hard Luck Deer Camp. Well, it's been pretty slow here on day 1 of the rifle season opener for whitetails. I picked this spot because it's on the backside of this massive cedar thicket. It's got a few nice natural shooting lanes that go around the sides of this, and there's trails that crisscross throughout it. So I've always called this spot Grand Central Station. Without the intel of trail cams, I'm not exactly sure when all this traffic is coming through here. But all I can do is park myself here during the daylight hours and hope that I'm here when my train comes in. to be honest, this tree stand isn't very comfortable. Now, to be fair, it's an older makeshift one with a worn out seat, and this is pretty much just a metal gun rail that, as you can tell by this cutaway, doesn't exactly offer me great back support. So I was sitting here and it occurred to me as I was fishing stuff out of my backpack that there might just be a more comfortable way to sit in this stand. I have this Alps Extreme backpack here, and if you've ever put an Alps backpack on, you know that the back is contoured to fit against your back, and it's going to give you a pretty comfortable fit when you think about it. So it occurred to me there must be a better way to sit comfortably in this tree stand. So now I have full back support, and I actually have found that when I'm aiming my gun, it's helping my foundation feel a little more solid. Can't we all use that up in a tree stand? It's also helping me stay a little warmer too, because the back of this hits me right in the kidneys in a spot that's kind of hard to keep warm sometimes, if you know what I mean. I'm also using it to turn 90 degrees in this tree, because I can now turn my body and lean instead of against a metal rail, against the backrest built into this Alps backpack. So, hey, it's really helping me be more comfortable up here in the stand. And at the end of the day, that's going to help us all as whitetail hunters. There's even a hydration port out the top of this thing. So with very minimal movement, I could be drinking water, well, or maybe wine if hunting doesn't pick up out of this thing. So if you have the benefit of having a pack that isn't very full like I do, try using it as a backrest, because you'll be sitting longer. Now, shh, I gotta hunt. Back at camp, it's always about the cooking, as we try to out-gourmet each other.
I'm adding a little quinoa, zucchini beans, and lentils to this grouse here for a little flavor, make it into a stew.
The sauger is a local fish that's a cousin of the walleye, and they're a little smaller, but I think everybody's good. Oh, we got some upside down pineapple cake.
What kind of brats are these?
Venison rattlesnake brats.
We had heart, liver, Rocky Mountain oysters, and the first night we were here we couldn't get the gas stove to work, so we cooked it out on the fire, and that was something nice.
Our cooking facilities range from camp stoves to the fire to this odd contraption.
This cowboy wok is an excellent little vessel to cook stuff on in camp.
This is what they call a cowboy wok. So when I seen this, it looked great because it could be something used outdoors. Basically what this is, these are just, actual horseshoes. And this is for a disc plow, the discs on a plow. And this goes right there.
Antler King, makers of the world's best food plot products, providing the highest protein and the most tonnage. But most importantly, deer love Antler King food plots. Antler King, bigger bucks, healthier deer. Welcome back to Hard Luck Deer Camp. I'm up hunting public ground in northern Minnesota. And one thing about hunting on public ground is you need to use the resources that are provided. I'm out self-filming a hunt, and what I've done is I've tucked the camera up underneath a pine tree that's right next to this old deadfall. What this has created is basically the perfect ground blind for my setup. Now I just needed to do a few things. I cleared a spot here so that I'd be able to sit on the deadfall, because I am not someone who can stand for hours at a time. I also knew that this old deadfall probably wouldn't support my weight very well. So I went and looked around and found an old birch stump, and I lodged it up against this tree to make sure that this thing doesn't move when I sit on it. With a little ingenuity, I think you'll always be able to find the resources you need to wait out these whitetails. It seems as though everyone in camp was scrambling to find the deer, especially Eric, who was forced to hunt a new slashing since his trip north was shut down by high water.
Right, I'm sitting not far from camp in a slashing. Found a cedar tree. There's a trail over there. Nothing all day, not an animal.
I gotta be honest, it's been a really tough hunt. It's day 3 and 5 of us have seen almost nothing. So you can imagine how excited I was when I heard something coming in to this makeshift ground blind I have set up here. And unfortunately, it wasn't exactly what I was expecting or hoping for. First wolf I've ever gotten on camera. They're bigger than you think they're going to be when you're on their level. This wolf came in within about 25 yards of me. He probably eventually winded me and ran off where he came from. It's pretty spectacular seeing an animal like this out in the wild. It's one of those times when, even though it's nothing you can shoot, it's pretty thrilling just to see them. And believe me, being eye level with a wolf is a pretty exasperating thing, that close range, even with a rifle, because it's just neat to see something like that out here. It also demonstrates why we are struggling. This is part of a problem here. The wolves have got these deer on the run. As you can see, obviously, I don't have a deer on camera yet, but I have a wolf. So it gives you an idea of some of the challenges we have up here on this public ground. It's not going to keep us from hunting up here, obviously. It just goes to show that we aren't the only ones chasing the whitetails out here.
Hard luck is more than just a name. It's become a way of life for us. This has always been a tough place to hunt, and now it's even more challenging. But that's okay, because we've been hunting this piece of ground since 1985 and have no real plans to hunt anywhere else.
You know, as I'm sitting here in my makeshift ground blind, I really have to smile, because this weapon I'm holding is more than just a weapon. It's a Remington Model 700 270 that my brother bought back in the early 80s, right after he got his first real job. And Tim soon began killing a lot of deer with this gun in a very short time. And that's a good thing, because you see, he was killed at a young age. And now, thankfully, we have his son Eric, who's picked right up where Tim left off, and he's now the steward of this gun. As you can see, he just had a brand new scope put on it. And so when this opportunity came up for me to film this hunt, I asked Eric if I could use Tim's old 270. And of course, he was happy to oblige. It's fun just sitting looking at a weapon like this, especially when you sit for hours. You tend to study these things, and the workmanship of this is just really something. And I wanted to use this gun not just because it's the perfect rifle for hunting these cedar swamps, great knockdown power, incredible accuracy. I also wanted to use this gun just because it's like using a little bit of history for me. You see, this isn't just a rifle. This is a family heirloom. One that is precise today as it was the day Tim bought it. And I know that Eric is going to pass it down the line to his sons. But for my part, I'm just damn proud to be able to hunt with this family heirloom. We have, I believe, 2 deer sightings and 3 wolf sightings. And in fact, we may need to consider becoming Hard Luck Wolf Camp.
Destination Whitetail is brought to you by the Burris Oracle Laser Range Finding Bow Sight. Burris, find what matters. By Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. By 10-Point Crossbow Technologies, there is no substitute. Get armed and deadly with Easton FMJ arrows. And by Matthews Archery. This is Deer Tech TV, the best in outdoor technology. Powered by Browning Trail Cameras.
Okay, right here we've got accuracy and we've got consistency. Ammo manufacturers, they make bullets to very tight tolerances so that each cartridge is identical to the next one. What does that give you? It gives you consistent accuracy from shot to shot. Now with a black powder rifle, you've got this. Accuracy, consistency, yes and no. So with a muzzleloading rifle, basically what you're doing is you're building your cartridge in the barrel of gun. You're using the different components to make a cartridge. You've got the powder that goes down the barrel, you've got the bullet that goes down the barrel, and you've got the primer that sets off the charge. So obviously what you want to do is build a consistent load in that barrel every time. And for me, there's three things that really give you a consistent shot time and time again. The first one is how you clean the rifle, how you consistently clean the rifle and foul the barrel. The second is how you build that load in your gun to make it consistent from time to time. And then the third component is shooting the gun, shooting it consistently, getting the same trigger pull each time. Okay, the first thing I do after I get back from a hunt or get back from the range is give my muzzleloader a thorough cleaning. Get all that gunk out of there and then give it a nice thin coat of oil to preserve the barrel. So the first thing that I need to do when I get back to the range or on a hunt, I want to run a patch down the barrel to get rid of that oil. Okay, now I want to foul that barrel before I take my first shot, and I want to continue to follow it in the same way so that I get that consistency. And the way I do that is I fire 2 primers through the barrel. That gives me that consistent clean and that consistent foul. Now the next step, building that load. Obviously you want to use the same amount of powder for each shot, whether you're using pellets like this or if you're using granular black powder or a substitute. Now I'm going to be using 100 grains of powder. I'm just going to run that down the barrel and then followed by my bullet. Apply really steady pressure, and then when you seat the bullet on the powder, you want to give about the same amount of push on there, the same amount of pressure each time. You just push it till it gets nice and snug, and then give it a little bit of pressure, and then try to always use that same amount of pressure. So I got what I feel is a consistent load now. We've got a consistent cleaning and fouling process. We've got a consistent loading process. You know, probably not the same accuracy that you're going to get with a center fire rifle, but it's going to be pretty darn close. Okay, the last thing in the consistency equation is the human element. You need to be able to make the same shot, the same trigger pull, the same routine every time you take the shot. Now with the trigger pull, you want the meaty part of your finger on the trigger like that, so that your fingernail is basically pointing at a 90-degree angle to you. That way you're going to be pulling the trigger straight back and you're going to get a nice crisp release. Now for the breathing part, I like to just calm myself down before the shot. And this is very important when you're hunting because the adrenaline gets going, your heart gets going, and you're breathing fast. So what I do is I take a couple deep breaths, I let go of about half of the last breath, and then I address the trigger, and then I take a nice, clean, steady, straight back pull.
Well, we live in a busy world. Coffee on the go, lunch on the go. How about a BOGO?
This is for a bow on the go, exactly. We call this the BOGO bow case. So this will hold bows up to 41 inches. The pocket's extra deep, so it's a 5-inch pocket this way. And this is a big, generous pocket here, so you need your arrows. Right. All of our hard arrow cases that Easton makes will fit right in there.
More protection.
Yeah, so you can get a great bow case for around 50 bucks. It's got 4 internal and external pockets. Really a nice case for the money. So I tell folks, get into eastonarchery.com. You can buy one there or get into your dealer.
Sounds good. And check your regulations. A lot of states you require a soft-sided case to transport your bow.
That's right. This would be perfect for that.
Absolutely.